The views and opinions expressed by the following program are those of the host, guest, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station or the Webster Rockhill Ministries, its management, or other host or underwriting sponsors. Programs presented on KWRH-LP are for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Welcome back to St. Louis in Tune. This is Arnold Stricker. We're having a great time here. I hope that you joined us in our first hour. We were talking about personal safety with Jen Jackson. In our second portion of the show here, we have Chris Clark on the line from Cinema St. Louis. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm good, although I'm currently sitting in my basement as we're not allowed into our offices for the near term.
Well, that's a bummer that you can't at least get out of the basement, maybe be upstairs where there's some sunlight or something.
It's quieter down here, so
that's true. That's true. What?
I was outside in the yard. I was outside in the yard earlier for an hour and a half on a Zoom conference.
Oh, okay.
There was helicopters and bugs and bees and birds all over the place. So,
wow.
So here I am.
So what? I'm glad that we were able to get you back on the show. We had you on last year. What's been going on with?
Yes, that was fun.
That it was, and I want to know kind of how this COVID-19 has impacted you all as it relates to the whole Cinema St. Louis, the St. Louis Film Festival, et cetera, because you've had some plans that have kind of been put on hold, i.e. the filmmaking camp and many of the festivals that you have set up. So let's kind of give listeners a little rundown on what's happened and what are the plans for some recovery for you all.
Oh, well, we never really stopped working, and we've been frugal for our entire existence, so we have a little bit of money set aside for these currently very rainy days. So we're able to keep on working. And the national, international parts of our industry are all equally trying to figure out how to adapt to everything. So the concept of virtual or online film festivals has quickly come into play, whereas before people, big festivals were not interested at all in that a year ago, and now it is the only way. So we had one event which was supposed to start in a couple of weeks, and then two others that were going to be happening shortly thereafter. They've all been, we've made the tough decision because we thought it was for the best to hold them virtually in an online platform. And for our big festival, the St. Louis International Film Festival in the fall, we're strongly heading in that direction to hold a virtual festival. We're watching models of all sizes all across the country and the world attempt the same thing. And we're sort of looking over their shoulders, again, virtually, and seeing how it works out for them. And there is opportunity there, and what we want the most is for people to share these films in cinema. Ideally in a theater with popcorn and soda, but that's not terribly practical right now. So we'll do the next best thing, which is not so much very different than Netflix and chilling on your couch. It's just you're buying a ticket and watching something else.
Yeah, I think I was talking to my wife about this. What is actually going to change what we have known and how we have done things before and then after this whole situation calms down and we get back to quote unquote whatever normal is. But I think about what you just said, where people are watching films online. They can purchase films online and sit in the comfort of their home. And then I read, like the Moolah they're not going to reopen once everything's done, and how different industries are going to have to adapt and change and modify how they can do things. And it may be that going to a movie theater is going to be something of I don't want to say a spectacle, but something that would be an anomaly, but it would be a great thing to do because you could sit with a bunch of people with popcorn and enjoy like you and I, as we were growing up and as we still have done previously to this, enjoy films in a big theater setting.
Yeah, so, it is new to everyone, so we'll see, and our great hope is that it won't be forever, that it will be this year, and maybe we'll go back to the way things used to be so long ago, 2 months ago. We're cautiously optimistic that we can make this work to the best of our ability, as long as we can, keep it going. One big drawback is, with respect to the main point of our discussion today, we were going to talk about our local event, the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase. A lot of those filmmakers are students who have not been able to finish their projects. So we think there's going to be a big drop in number of overall submissions, which is one real effect of it. And, people have the ability to make films with their phones and do anything, but a lot of projects were stalled right after they started, and there's no really way to duplicate something that you were had cast and crew and locations and sets and props and things as easily with a very limited crew of one or two, depending on who's quarantining with you at any one moment. So there are some things that are in the pipeline, and so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And it's hard to wait like that when we're used to immediate gratification.
Because that event was to take place. I'm sorry. That event was to take place. I'm on the website.
July, and it still is.
Right.
Yeah, it still is, but it just won't be in a physical location.
Okay. And have you had anybody submit at this point? Because I know there was.
For sure. Each year we open submissions in January, and right now I have about in the low 30s number of total submissions. But that is not an anomaly. That's actually on par, because typically each year there's about 100 to 120 submissions. Well, I'll get 80 of those in the last couple of days before our deadline, which is May 31st. So, as always, there'll probably be a big glut at the end, because people wait till the last minute, in particular filmmakers, because they want to polish every last frame with sound and color and correct this and edit off this 10 seconds or add this scene. So things are always they're finished, but they wait, just work and work it over. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see the things that are coming to us.
And Chris, for those people who aren't really familiar with the Filmmakers Showcase, describe exactly. You do have full-length fiction features, you have documentaries, etc., and maybe name a couple that they may be familiar with.
I'll go back to the very beginning. The St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase is a local film festival. This will be year 20, and it is dedicated exclusively to St. Louis area filmmakers and expatriates with strong local connections who escaped our shores to work elsewhere. It's a film festival like any other film festival, like the St. Louis Film Festival, like the Cannes Film Festival. There are short subjects, both documentary and narrative, and feature-length films, both documentary and narrative, many of them with question and answer sessions with the cast and crew and director after each screening. So we're going to try and do the same thing, but instead of handing somebody a microphone in front of a packed audience, we'll do it on Zoom or Facebook Live or something like that, and try and duplicate the experience the best we can, because a lot of it, people like to ask questions, interactivity. Big film. Well, I guess one of the biggest success stories recently is a film that we screened last summer in the showcase. It was a participant in the New Filmmakers Forum Emerging Directors Competition in the St. Louis Film Festival. It's called The Ghost Who Walks, directed by mostly a cinematographer by profession, but this was his first directorial effort. And it, for several weeks in a row, was in the top 10 shows watched on Netflix in the United States.
Wow.
And that's a pretty big statement.
That is.
That it was up there with Tiger Kings and other things like that this locally made feature had such great traction, and people watched it all over the world. Snoop Dogg made a commentary on a Facebook post once, so filmmakers liked that too. So that shows that this model really can work. Everything's not going to make it all the way to Netflix, but if you make something that's well crafted and seamless, it can go on.
Now, when you take a look at these films, and I, when I was looking at the awards that have been given to Cinema St. Louis, awards and prizes, and just the best documentary short, the 2019 winners. I'm just reading from the list. This is the International Film Festival, and then one I think that went up for an Academy Award, which was St. Louis Superman, and just a variety of the awards that the film festival has generated. It's a real diamond for the community to continue to support you guys. And I know there's a St. Louis coming up, and you all do take donations for that particular event, correct?
Yes. Give STL today, promoted and sponsored locally by the St. Louis Community Foundation, which is a granting organization that's sort of a pass-through for corporations and wealthy individuals who want to distribute monies to local charities in need, but they do it through the auspices of this foundation. Sort of manages the money and manages the selection process, and who is worthy and who is not, and how much do people get. So it's an annual online thing that's just happened here a couple of years, and different organizations compete for who can get the most money in a certain hour, and there's all kinds of extra prizes and things that get. But that's where it's unfortunate that all happens for everybody simultaneous on the same day. So you're competing against everyone else. But there's plenty to go around, and big organizations with big, huge bases, often earn more, and things that are smaller earn less, but they may not need as much. So every little bit counts. And in this current situation, a lot of these arts groups or an art gallery or on the call this morning, we were talking about arts camps for children in Tower Grove Park, things like that, where things that just can't happen right now. And,
right.
We're event producers. We produce events and festivals where we want people to be there, and as many people as possible crowded into a single room to watch something. And that's not practical very much. But to be able to continue what we're doing, every little dollar helps. $5, $10, $20, $1,000 at a time. Every dollar will help. Just pushes on an extra month, then an extra month after that, and hopefully ticket sales from these virtual events will pay for another month. So just the arts are always a grind. You always have to have your hands out to make things happen. But it's we love what we do.
So, Chris, when people are trying to stay up with what's going to happen with the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase, other than go to the website, will you be posting things on Facebook, or like if you've submitted an email to get your feed, is that a way that they can find out about the tickets and the timing on this, etc.?
We are prolific and relentless communicators on all platforms. Our website, certainly. We also have a very active Facebook and Instagram account for each event. Cinema St. Louis has an identity, but all the individual events each have their own accounts on Instagram and pages on Facebook. And then on top of that, we have a weekly newsletter that you don't have to be a member. We have, like all nonprofits, we have a membership organization with prices up and down the line with various perks. But you don't have to be a member to get our newsletter. And our newsletter is not just about us. It's about it's on a weekly basis. Anything movie related going on in town, we will put in this newsletter. So it's about the cinema in St. Louis in general, not just Cinema St. Louis.
Gotcha.
So lots of ways to get the message out. So we work hard at it every day.
Well, we appreciate you doing that, because sometimes it's, I don't want to say sometimes, I like to go to the movie theater for the experience, especially on certain kinds of movies. And, if I'm tired, I will stay home, but, you can't catch the latest releases like that necessarily. But folks, you really need to support Cinema St. Louis. CinemaStLouis.org is their website, and from there you can go to the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase and a variety of other things, and also sign up at the bottom of the page for their weekly newsletter, as Chris was talking about. Chris, any final words for us to encourage us to hang through this and look forward to watching some movies in the big houses?
I just want everybody to be, safe and happy and healthy for now, and continue baking bread and exercise and doing what they need to do, and we'll all get through this together. And then, next year, I think, when we're all able to go back to what we were doing before, it'll be a different world and a gentler world, and there's always new stories out in the world, so it's endless stories and endless voices, and anybody can make a film these days with a phone or a laptop. Anyone can do it. So we're always excited to see the different things we get from local people and nationally and internationally.
Going through this process would be an interesting film.
Yeah, we're just trying to reinvent what we've done for nearly 30 years the same way over and over and over again. Now we have to scrap what we've done and retool, and we think we're up to the challenge, and we're excited about it.
You guys do great work. Chris Clark from Cinema St. Louis, thanks for joining us today. Chris, have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.